Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about issue number 3 of Storm from the Ashes, written by Mirwa Ayadil and art by Mirwa Ayadil. But before we dive into the story, I want to ask you a favor. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and a comment to help the channel grow. Now, with that said, this issue opens with Dr. Voodoo telling a scared Storm that she is dying, and he can't stop it. Because as a necromancer, Dr. Voodoo can do more than see the dead, he can also see death sprites. Now these death sprites are creatures that can sense a life close to its end, or a force close to being extinguished. So when it comes to the business of superheroing, risking their lives to make the world a better place makes it common to see death sprites hovering intimately around close friends. But due to the powers wielded by the heroes, they usually are able to use said power to push death further away, day after day. So for Storm, Dr. Voodoo made a bargain with an ancient spirit to not just remove all of the radiation poisoning from her cells, but he also removed all illnesses from her body. So at that very moment, Storm is the healthiest being in the universe, yet still the biggest swarm of death sprites he has ever seen still hovers over her life like flies over decay. But regardless of the death sprites, the doctor in exchange for her healing, made a deal where she cannot use her mutant abilities for 7 days. Which, lucky enough for Storm, she was fine with her price as it stood, because she then went on to say that maybe she would make Hogan Supreme proud by learning how to bring the forces of nature under her will, by speaking ancient tongues known only to old witches and sorceresses. Now this prompted the doctor to reply by saying he doubts the day when Storm reclaims her magical heritage will ever come. In fact, he simply chose the price he presumed Storm would rather bear. Because he was hesitant to believe Storm would rather sacrifice 7 decades of her lifespan or 7 organs from her body. Or the last option the Dark Spirit gave, which was the loss of her memory, which included the memory of how to breathe for 7 long months. So with all the other options being extreme, the doctor was positive that the no mutant abilities for 7 days thing would be a piece of cake, especially because Storm is known to be as deadly with a blade and her fists as she is with the forces of nature. Now with all that said and done, the doctor then went on to beg her to consider joining him at the Strange Academy and come under the protection of his students and their headmaster for the time being. To which Storm politely turned down by saying, while she appreciated his offer to stay at the Strange Academy, she is afraid that not even the threat of certain death can keep her away from her destination in his magical city. Now following that, we transition over to the outside of Haven House with Wolverine smelling the air for a familiar scent. A scent that he claims could be a deadly threat. A scent that Wolverine claims to belong to Nimrod. Now at first, Rogue instantly doubted what Logan was saying, but regardless of her response, Wolverine's attitude did not change at all. In fact, Wolverine's attitude grew more intense as he claimed that the scent of Nimrod came from in their home. So as Kurt went to check from a higher standpoint, Rogue's motherly instincts kicked in as she dashed by everyone in a gust of wind, and with anger in her entry, the leader of the UNCANNY X-Men bashed through the door and ordered who she thought was Nimrod to get away from the kids. But when she arrived, to her surprise, Storm was standing in the living room with a smile on her face, happy to see her old friend. And like a flip of a switch, Rogue went from angry mama bear to loving friend in the blink of an eye. And upon their embrace, Storm with no hesitation informed Rogue that Gambit wanted her visit to be a surprise. So as everyone embraced and hugged each other, we got a narration stating that Storm has lived different lives as different people, but one thing she'll always be is an X-Men. Even if she doesn't want to admit it to herself in this era of her life, she would rather have the X-Men by her side than face the challenges ahead as a lone hero. Because with the X-Men, Storm is amid friends, and she is happy, and she is safe, and finally she is home. Now with 6 more days on Storm's clock to lay low, Storm decided to spend her probation period spending time with a really close friend. A friend that whom she shares a long history with. And during this time she spent with Logan, she honed her physical abilities with arguably the toughest member on this team's roster. So day in and day out, sunshine and rain, the 2 battle-hardened warriors exchanged thunderous blows that extended beyond training and drifted into a straight beatdown. Because at this point in the battle, Wolverine wanted Storm to know that he is the best at what he does, and he advised her not to stand back up. But like a warrior queen, Storm dug deep and charged one of the X-Men's greatest warriors and took him down, because despite the odds against Storm, she will always get back up. So with the goddess on top, she stared deep into Logan's eyes and shared a moment that erupted into a frenzy of passionate kissing that evolved into the 2 old friends revisiting an old flame that used to burn between them. And between them, this flame burned under conditions that only they would find acceptable under a storm in an open field. Now on the next page, early on the last day of Storm's probation period, she lay asleep in bed with Logan as a gigantic bird appeared outside her window and offered her a good morning. To which our goddess quickly got up and met the creature outside on the balcony and asked it not to speak so loudly or else it would wake everyone. So with that said, the bird then went on to say that she had been summoned by the god Emperor Doom, the ruler of Latveria, sorcerer supreme, and soon conqueror of Earth. And he wishes to parley with Storm on mutant matters. Following that, the bird then went on to state that this is a grace born of royal empathy that only few have had the honor of enjoying. So with the invitation given, Storm then went on to ask what day the meeting would take place, to which the creature replied by saying tonight. And right before the bird could leave, Storm stopped the creature and stated that she would need a ride, because A, she currently can't use her mutant powers, B, she doesn't have a Latverian visa, and C, Doom wants to meet with her tonight and she doesn't have the means to meet him otherwise. So with the argument laid out, the bird had no choice but to agree to Storm's conditions and wait for the goddess to get ready and depart. So with the plans made, Storm had to stop by Rogue's room to fill her in on everything that transpired that night, which included her hookup with Wolverine and her upcoming meeting with Dr. Doom. And then she went on to tell Rogue that she needed two things from her. The first thing she needed was a dress, and the second thing was concealable weapons, because she left her attire and knives in Atlanta. Now with that request put in, Rogue asked about what Storm was planning on doing with Logan, to which the goddess replied by saying she had set a path for herself and announced it to the world. And the thing about Storm is that she wants to see it through for herself, even if that means she cannot stay there with the team and Logan. And if Doom truly aims to conquer the world and discuss his plans for mutants, it might do them some good to hear him out. And the Avengers would at least want her to know a little about the new Sorcerer Supreme. With everything in place, we see Storm on the back of the bird making her way to Latveria. And as she flew, we got a narration saying, Storm is everything one would expect from a storm god, brave, rageful, fierce, unrelenting, and powerful. She would fight till every bone in her body breaks, every tendon shreds, and her lungs drowned in blood. But when it comes to matters of the heart, she is like a regular person, a regular human. And with her departure from her friends and her old lover, tough and visible to the uninitiated, her death sprites returned, signaling dangerous events ahead. One could only wonder what fate must await Storm in the den of the terrifying god Emperor Doom. So with that said, this issue of Storm comes to an end. But anyway, down in the comment section below, let me know your thoughts about this issue and what predictions you could have moving forward. So with that established, I hope you enjoyed this video. And please remember to leave a like and a comment if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.